Buenos Dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict, right? And as you can tell by today's thumbnail, yes, I wanted to talk about it, homes. I most definitely wanted to talk about the city of Merced, right? My town, that's created by the dope sound, right? People always say, you touch on this and you touch on that, Gun. Why don't you ever talk about Merced? Well, let's talk about it then, right? In a menudo style and a direct motherfucking fashion. We're going to talk about the city of Merced. Now, I was born right here in Modesto, California, right? The 209, don't get it twisted, man. It's just down the 99 from the city of Merced. And as a youngster, my father got incarcerated, right? So my mother felt that if for no other reason, she should move close to her canala, who lived in Merced, my tia. So we moved to Merced. Okay, I was probably like 2 or 3 years old, man. So I was a young buck. Didn't know nothing, man. Still in diapers, so I was scared. Shitty pants, right? That's what they used to call me. But at the end of the day, it was what it was. And I started to grow up. And I grew up on the west, right? I grew up on the west side of Merced, man, where the viciousness just was real. You know, so I grew up seeing everything around me. And at that time, gangs were there, but I wasn't noticing them. So I was trying to collect garbage pail kids, and in that fashion, that's what I was into. You know, I never really got into the gangs and that lifestyle and that thing at the age of about probably 4, 5, 6, till I got to about 8 years old. And something changed my mentality. Something changed my mentality. And I can't key in on it because I don't know. But I remember going to school one day and there was some spray paint on a wall. And it said, Norte, right? And I remember saying, what's that mean, right? And it just grasped at me. It was like I was destined to see that word. And I was not necessarily knowing what it was, but I felt that tug and that pull towards that. Now, you got to understand, at this time, that movie Colors had just came out, and everybody was either crippin' or they were blooded. They were banning the BK shoes from the schools. You couldn't wear those. You could only wear a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. They were starting to clamp down before it got wild in Merced. So let's get it. They didn't clamp down hard enough, right? But I was more gravitating not towards the crippin' and the blooding, but towards this Norte word. So I started to ask about it. And the one person that I knew that I could ask that could put me up on game was my tío that was always incarcerated and was all tatted, blasted back. He was a gang member. And I remember seeing Norte on his hand. So this word identified with the word I was seeing now in the city of Merced for the first time. So I asked him about it. I said, Tío, what's up, man? What does Norte mean? He said, I don't think you're ready. You're too young for that conversation. I said, I was born ready. He said, well, we're going to find out, right? So he sat me down and he started to educate me into what he was. And at this time, he was a member of the Northern Structure, what eventually would become known as the Nuestra Raza, right? And he was one of the first members. I'm not going to say he was a founding member or nothing like that because that's not the truth. Fact of the matter is, he was a Northern Structure member, period, plain and simple, and had it real big on his back, Northern Structure, right? So he started to lace me up and indoctrinate me into the plights of the Norte, why the Norte was founded, how the wiggle happened, how it was for the gente, for social status of equality, for justice of the northern plight and the northern people. And I was feeling all that. See, in my familia, we've always been about the raza. We've always been about our race. We've always been about the push for brown power. We've always been about the push for Chicano pride, right? So I felt that if for no other reason, this was the route that I was going to go. This is what I felt I was destined to be, was a young, striving Norteño. Now, I didn't look at it in the gang aspect of, oh, I'm going to get hyenas and I'm going to shoot people. And nah, man, I did it for the most righteous reason, for the gente, right? I just wanted to be part of the winning team, which I believed we were going to accomplish total victory at that time. That's what I was there for, man. I was just another piece to the puzzle. Okay, so in Merced, what you started to have spring up in the late 80s was all these gangs. Now, there was these old school gangs, Barrio Merced, Rifa, M14ers, West Side Merced. They had always been around since the 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? But like I said, I was a little kid and I wasn't around yet, so I didn't notice. Okay, somewhere in the late 80s to beginning of the 90s is when my barrio sprang up, right? Dead End Lokes or Dead End Locals. Okay, and it was just established by a handful of individuals that we used to be called the Boys in Effect, right? Now, Boys in Effect, man, was our first name of our hood. Most definitely. And like I said, it was just a handful of homeboys that got together at Tenaya Junior High School, man, and felt that if for no other reason, man, they should start a little neighborhood because they weren't trying to be part of this fucking old Tecato fucking hood VMR. And that's what happened. And then somewhere along the line, man, the homeboy Baby from Dead End changed the name to Dead End because where he lived in the hood, there's a Dead End sign right at his house. He came up with the fucking bright idea. Orderly, I'm from Dead End. Seen it in a fucking Teen Angel magazine, and that was it. Dead End locals, now we're on the rise, right? And of course, we went through a lot at that time. We went through a lot, man, because we were trying to establish as youngsters. And of course, just like any younger generation, just like I say with the whole generation, right? People ain't feeling it. You know, people ain't feeling it. They're stuck in their ways. They're like, look at these little mocosos trying to be all flamed up out here. DEL, what's that? Almost Susca, two crunchy tacos and a roll. What do you mean, Holmes? Del taco que no chale, Holmes. Nah, you know what I mean? We'll fucking knock your taco off, though. Don't even trip. Right one time for your mind. But we started to establish a righteous name in the city of Merced. And we actually became the largest barrio in Merced, right? To this day. And of course, a lot of other barrios along the line sprung up in Merced, man. I'm about to take you on a virtual tour to get down to the hoods in Merced. What you had established now was you had Barrio Merced Rifa, which was an old hood, as well as West Side Merced, which was basically comprised of norteños that weren't necessarily from a hood, but claimed the west side of Merced, right? So they were basically just unaffiliated norteños. Then what you had was old hoods like 12th Street, 11th Street, M14ers, which were also clicked up with Barrio Merced Rifa. We had an old hood that's not around anymore, man. That were 4 fat guys and 3 fat chicks, and they were called the Posse, right? They used to ride around with the Cadillac with 3 hubcaps all fucked up, right? We X'd them out immediately. There was also another gang that goes way back that not a lot of gente know about in Merced. They don't even talk about it. It was called Northside Playboys. Simon. They were called Northside Playboys, Holmes. They didn't last but a quick second, and I couldn't even tell you any guy that was from there. But then you had hoods that started to spring up on the north side of Merced, which is located all the way over there. Get over there on the other side, and you had Lofbro Locals, right? Now, quietly as it's kept, man, I'm going to tell you guys about Lofbro Locals for you youngsters running around talking about, I'm from Lofbro. ¿Sabes qué? Lofbro established and started out as Sureños. Period. Couple homeboys moved from LA, man. They moved from down south, and they established Lofbro Locals. And Lofbro Locals consisted of a few Sureños. Yes, indeed, man. It didn't last too long. I'd say about 6 months later, Holmes, they flipped one day. I seen the 13 turn upside down. Now it was the 14, and they were norteños. And of course, that's something that's swept in the rug, under the rug. And a lot of vatos that are from Lofbro, from the old school, they know about it. But it was something that happened so fast, man. I guess these guys coming from LA, they just swooped in. They realized, Charlie, Holmes, you know what I mean? We're going to strive as norteños. And whatever the case may be, wasn't no switch up thing. I guess it was, but I can't call it. I'm not woofing on the gente, man. They just decided to become norteños. And that's what happened. But it did start off established as a Sureño gang. I'll never forget, you know. And then you had other hoods that popped up, you know. M Street, Rebels Before Locals, RBL in the city of Merced. And these are all the norteño gangs. NFL came later, Norteños for Life. And you just had a lot of different hoods. East 140, Green Street Mob. A lot of these little hoods that are extinct now, or they gravitated and came, you know what I'm saying? So let's come to the big boys. We're going to show you how to do it real nice. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. But a lot of these barrios, we all knew each other in the city of Merced. So it was crazy where we'd be bucking at each other. There was a lot of red on red. A lot of motherfuckers that just didn't get along. But we all knew each other. Merced isn't very big. So you could be killing, you're guaranteed to be killing your baby mama's cousin's brother. You know what I mean? That was probably going to happen most indubitably. Most definitely. But motherfuckers didn't care. They were getting it. Okay, so then along came the Merced Ghetto Boys, right? And I know it's very popular. This hood is well known in the city of Merced. And Sasuke, hey, I ain't mad at you little homies. They're carrying on the torch, right? But let me tell you the rundown and the get down about the Merced Ghetto Boys. We all know the rapper GB's from the Merced Ghetto Boys. And you know what? Respectfully, he's doing his thing, man. Can't be mad at him. His music slaps, right? He's carrying that torch for the town. So Trip, the Merced Ghetto Boys were derived from my barrio, Dead End Locals. And what happened was at one point in time, man, we had a little clique. You know, just like in the hoods down south, there's clicas, right? And the clique that we had were called Dead End Peewees. Okay, they were Dead End Peewees. They were comprised of Mo, Chilo, Carlos Aguirre, a couple other homeboys, right? And they were basically like the younger generation of us, right? And of course, they were going to strive and become dead. And I don't know what Bob Wussel's fucking idea. I was locked up in YA for murder. So I don't know whose idea it was to start dead end Pee-wees and not just necessarily make them dead end. But somewhere, somebody came up with that and they thought it was a good idea. It was cool. And they ran with that, right? So I don't know where their antennas were fucking or where I was, right? I was fucking in Nellis, fucking, you know, striving for the hood, you know? And homeboys will tell you from dead end, real righteous homeboys that know me will say, damn, man, Gun was the first one ever from dead end ever to go to YA and establish it, man. Put the city on the map, bro, in real life. Ask about me, bro. Anyway, so Trip, these youngsters were wiggling. Now, at this time, man, there was a lot of red on red happening in the city of Merced. Okay, there was a lot of autos getting shot, a lot of autos getting stuck, hit, homeboys were complacent. What I mean by complacent is they weren't happy being in one fucking area. They wanted it all. What the fuck? If I ruled the world, imagine that, right? They wanted it all. So little homeboys were going onto the north side and tearing their ass up. And likewise, the north siders over there from Los Locers were coming back, tearing our asses up, right? And we got tired of it, Vato. Sasuke, we got tired of it because these dead end peewees weren't saying, hey, we're from dead end peewee. They were saying dead end. And here you have a couple homeboys that didn't know what happened 2 nights before, kicking back, smoking a little yak comes, and then you got all these Northsiders coming over, letting them have it, right? And we lost a homeboy or 2 over that, right? And so that caused a friction within the movement within the hood. And so we called the junta at the dead end park, is where we always had our juntas back in them days. I don't even know if they still utilize that park, tell you the truth. But anyways, this is where we were established, right? And Sasuke, wait up, before I do all that, orderly, free Donnie. Anyway, so we had a junta and it was decided amongst the older homeboys, the first generation, that we were not going to, basically, you're going to keep fucking dead end peoples out your mouth, homes, kick rocks. Sasuke, hey, either get in with the carro, be dead end, homes, but ain't gonna be no more dead end peewee bullshit because you guys are causing unwanted attention from the canine as well as the other hoods. Even though there are enemigas, bro, hey, we'll let you know when we're ready to go blast. You don't let us, you know what I mean? And then you can't be mad at the youngsters. They were doing their thing. They were doing what was righteous, you know? But we didn't like it. We were catching the reverberations and the flack for what they were doing, you know, because they was out there with putting the hammer down. So a couple of the individuals, Mo and Chilo, say, yeah, that's cool. So let's get watch out. We're going to start our own thing. And so them living over there by McNamara Park, which is now known as Mac Park, 12th Street, 10th Street, 11th Street area, they decided to come up with their own barrio and they came up with the hood. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. The Merced Ghetto Boys. And quietly as it's kept, they stood stagnant for several years, man. There would be a few members that joined, and they were always our homeboys or our brothers, little homies or little brothers or cousins or whatever. And then eventually in the 2000s, it blew up. The Merced Ghetto Boys, man, they started recruiting a lot of youngsters. Hey, man, and they did their thing and they firmly established their own barrio as their own. You know, when they started to get known for their own, they started to have homeboys that went into prison. They started to grow up. You have homeboys that are now C's as well as hermanos, right? And that's just what it is, and soldados. So they strived, man. They strived. You can't be mad at them. That's how barrios start, man. It's a thought. It's a flame, homes, that lights, and then it either fucking takes flame or it fizzles out. But they did their thing. But that's where they're derived from. That's the history and the origins of that neighborhood. Okay, now my neighborhood has always been known as the predominant neighborhood in the city of Merced. Irregardless of what other vatos was, Charlie, we used to put it down on you vatos. Hey, you know what? Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. Back and forth they went, man. Some days you would win, some days we would win. But at the end of the day, winner, chicken dinner, right? Dead end is still established and very well known in the city of Merced, right? But let's talk about the influx of sureños in the city of Merced. The influx of the norteño riders, or riders, whatever they call themselves in the city of Merced. The influx of dropouts. The influx of a lot of different situations, because right now in the city of Merced, that's what you have. Okay, and I'll tell you about the establishment. Okay, so what you had in the mid-2000s was I had just paroled out of prison, and I got out, and there was some homeboys there that were actually establishing a regiment in the city of Merced, right? So I wasn't even looking to get involved in the Nuestra Raza. I wasn't looking to get involved in any fucking regiments, anything of that nature. I just want to sell a little dope, make some money, right? So one of the homeboys calls me and he's like, hey, bro, come through here. So I was, okay, you got the little paper, right? So I went through there, and what I went to was a stronghold household, right? Basically a household where there was nothing but norteños, big striving motherfucking ass norteños that were with the regiment. And I started to become pulled. I was a trusted norteño. I was a trusted homeboy. I had done a lot of time. I had done everything that I needed to do up until that point, man, to establish my name out there on the calles. I was well known in the city of Merced for my barrio, being one of the first ones. Just a lot of different things go into it, where the homeboy, being from my barrio, of course, he showed a little favoritism, thought that if for no other reason he should pull me, and I did it. I strived for that, right? And I became a Nuestra Raza member, and I became part of the regiment, okay? And my whole thing, my whole being for life, Holmes, everything that I wanted to do was to hit dropouts. That's all I cared about. I was the one in Merced pushing that narrative. DOs, check paperwork. Whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. I had me a couple hitters, man. Rest in peace to my boy Tete. You know what it is. I had me a couple hitters, orderly, poste. And we were doing our thing, right? There's a lot of fucking things I can't speak on because I don't want to do vida, right? But at the end of the day, things were happening. Okay, indictments started to take place. Vatos started to come up. I ended up catching a 4-year term for whacking a DO at a club, and I went to prison. Okay, and what you had happen was the regiment kind of fizzled off, popped back up, fizzled off, popped back up, and right now I can't tell you what capacity it's blowing, but I know they're doing their thing in the city of Merced. Let them do them. But what you had is a lot of people start to drop out. A lot of people start to fall off. Now, I ain't gonna lie, man. When I became non-active, I chose to go a different route, and I chose to move, and I moved to Modesto, and I established there, and I said, it is what it is. Do I go back to my barrio? Look at my Instagram. You'll see the pictures, right? I go back. I kick it with a few homeboys. I'm still in contact with a lot of righteous-ass old-school homeboys from my hood. Of course, the youngsters ain't got no love for me, so I was like, guess what, youngsters? I ain't got no fucking love for you either, right? I'm talking about from my hood, you know, and anyone else that want it. So, at the end of the day, that's just what it is. In a menudo style, in a direct fashion, I'm not tripping. Right? I'm quick to slip the clip in and get to spitting if we have to. I'm not trying to, but I will. And that's what that is. Okay? But I'll just be totally honest with you. You know, when people say, oh, you can't come back to your hood. Motherfucker, shit. You got me fucked up. You know what I mean? So I understand where you're coming from. I understand you feel a certain way. I felt that way too, little homie. But guess what? Your time will come. You know, everyone's does. And then you'll be feeling the same way. You know? Ask Titi. Anyway, so trip out. This is just how shit goes, you know, in the city of Merced. And then what you had, man, what I started to hear, because I got primos, I got familia, I got homeboys that I talk to all the time, every fucking day. They're like, what's going on in the city of Merced? They're like, man, we're starting to see a hood that popped up. Now, there was always a Sureño hood, just a little hood called PPLs. And there was Homeboys for Life, which was like a Brown Prider type Sureño clique that you hardly ever seen. And the PPLs, man, we got into it a couple times. But actually, they were right there on the west side of my barrio. Never really had friction with them. It was funny, man. For them being Sureños, we just never tripped off them. They never tripped off us. They wiggled with the north side. They would go at it. But with us, it just wasn't no hatred. I guess because they were in so close proximity, they knew we'd throw a grenade and blow their whole fucking block up if that shit got crazy. Over there, there started to become SSLs, Southside Locals, which I'm hearing are well firmly established in the city of Merced now. Now, I can't call it like an alcoholic. I can't sit here and say they're running rapid and they're doing their thing, but I'm saying I've been hearing that, right? And if they are, Simon, Sul, get yours on, raza. At the end of the day, man, I'm for everybody, man. So if you're winning, you're winning, you know? Just don't kill my primo. But anyway, so look, because I'm coming. Then they're doing their thing. But now I'm hearing they're starting to establish a lot of northern riders and dropout gangs in the city of Merced. And I'm flabbergasted. Indubitably, my mind's blown because I got people that hate on me steadily every day. Talk about, gun, you a suck at this, suck at that, can't come to the hood, you's a tweaker, you's a whoop-de-whoop, wop-de-wop, right? Better, you got northern riders running all over the same blocks that these motherfuckers are recording these videos about. Handle your business, man. Stop it, man. There's motherfuckers. Where were your rabbit ears when that rabbit fucking hopped on by? That's gay. Hey, that vato's like there. Watch out, Alice. He's going to the Wonderland. Go get him. You know what I mean? That's gay. Can't call it like an alcoholic. Anyways, at the end of the day, man, the city of Merced has a big influx of everything. And now we've always had the Asian gangs. I talked about it, the MODs, the Oriental Troops, the True Blues, the HBOs, Asian Boys, all these different gangs of Asians were always in the city of Merced, and we always got along with them. The Norteños always firmly got along with them, except for the gang True Blue. At one point in time, man, we used to wiggle, and that was only because they got along with the city of Atwater, who are basically our real enemigas. 10 minutes, located 10 minutes away from Merced, man. It's a Sureño stronghold, upstate Sureños, and we used to go at it with them. I knew all of them because my primo was one of the vatos that established that hood, so they never tripped off me. But if they see me on the streets, they'd fucking peel my shit back. That's the truth, you know? Likewise. But I've always wondered right? How the city of Merced ever let anyone outside of the Norteños, the Asians, the Cripas, and the Bloods establish, right? Because I know in our time era, man, I'm not going to lie, there was a few Sureños, right? But they were only there because we allowed them to be there, bro. Right? We allowed them to be there because they posed no threat. Do you understand? They were more brown priders than they were Sureños. We know in the back of our mind they were Sureños, but they weren't tripping. So, hey, they ain't fuck with you, don't fuck with them, right? ¿Sabes qué? Puchi. We were just mobbing, right? Doing our thing. But now they're boisterous, man. I see Vatos 209, Merced, and I ain't mad. But at the end of the day, man, I feel some type of way because I'm like, damn, little homies, what happened? You guys lost your way. You guys it's agua. You got watered down. That's all I can say, right? Not everybody, because there's some fucking hitters out of the city of Merced. I'll never talk down upon my own people, right? But I will say, man, span some, you know what I mean? I don't have some preservatives. So get your mind right, homies, so you can shine right. Anyways, that's a virtual tour. That's a fucking tour into the hoods in Merced. Now, I'm not going to say every video is watered down, every video ain't putting in their work, because, man, M Street, stand up. Them motherfuckers is with it. Loft Bro Locals, man, always been about their production. RBLs, Rebels Before Locals, quick to slip the clip in, man. Dead End. You already know what that is. Beechwood Locals. There's just so many different gangs in the city of Merced that are about it, and there's so many gangs in the city of Merced that are all smoked out, right? And that's just what it is, man. I keep it real and righteous at all points in time because that's the only way I know how to do it. You know, for those that are striving for the city of Merced and keeping that flame lit and doing your thing, I'm proud of you, homes. It's all respect. I know at the end of the day, my word doesn't count for shit, but it does to me. And that's all that matters. Because I sit back, and I watch, right? I sit back and I watch, man, and I see if the wiggleization is real because we firmly established all these hoods. Me, myself, and other vatos around me that I still chop it up with established the shit that you guys carry on. So a tattoo don't make you, it could break you. You know what I mean? Don't be mad because I'm me and I ain't you. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. At the end of the day, man, move fast with a purpose. I hope you guys get everything that you want coming to you. That's called hustling, man. Go out there for your familias. It ain't about one city or another city or gang or this or that or red or blue or Crips. It ain't about none of that. What it's about, man, is raza united, coming together, getting that feria and making that money, man, so their family can righteously live. And in that fashion, Merced 209, boy.